Greetings, everyone. I'm Jennifer Casey. I'm your facilitator or instructor for English 210. And I had the best laid plans to do this last week, but last week was quite busy and overwhelming for me because it was the first week for my semester at the community college where I teach. And I was also finishing 2 other English 210 classes through U of P. And so, yeah, it was just a lot. So here I am, and I wanted to say hi to all of you and introduce myself and go over a few things about our class, including our discussions and our week 2 assignment. All right, so let's get started. So I have 2 English 210 classes, so this is one of them, and I'm going to be going back and forth because I have the pages already opened for the different pages I want to talk about. But this is our class, and everything starts here under content. And of course, our class is made up of modules. So we had week 1 audience is everything, and we are now in our week 2 module, writing to evaluate, which relates to the week 2 assignment. So I'm going to drop this down, and you can see that everything you need for each week is contained in this module. And you always start with your interactive overview, which I recommend doing as soon as you can during the week to get a feel of what the week's going to be like and to plan for it. And then when you drop down here in reading and learning activities, you will find resources such as our class textbook chapters that go along with this week's topics. And it's really important to read through these because these are what is going to give you the information you need to answer the discussion questions as well as to complete your assignments. So this week is chapter 3, Composing with a Writer's Mindset, because you're going to be writing your first essay this week. And part 6, Love It or Hate It, Native Advertising on the Internet, Mastering Commonly Confused Words, and Writing to Evaluate, as well as library resources of other material that you'll be learning about this week. All right, so this is the discussion, and I'm going to just jump over to this page and to remind everyone that your initial discussion post is always due on Thursday, and then you must respond to 2 of your peers by Monday, and you have to do all of this over 2 days. So your initial post and your replies need to be on different days in order to get complete credit. And you must also submit your posts on time. There is no 4-day late grace period for discussion posts. They act as your participation, similar to being in an on-ground class in which you get participation for participating in the discussions and activities in the class. And that is the way discussions work. All right, so there's always 3 parts to our discussion, and the first one is always the resource. There's something to read, and in this case it's the work-life imbalance paper, as well as a handout on essay structure and thesis writing. And these are really important because you're going to need this for this week's paper and week 3 paper, the week 3 paper, and the week 5 paper. Okay, so I would make sure to download these and save them to a folder on your computer so that you can refer back to them later, as well as the resources that I give you within the assignment page itself. So as it states, read through these to become familiar with them, and then in your response, respond to the following questions using information from this week's required reading. And what I mean by that is your textbook readings, as well as the library reading resources that pertain to the discussion, as well as the resource in part 1, or these resources here, okay? And so you can see the questions, and they relate to writing in general about academic form and the 5-paragraph essay, as well as the example given, which you can refer to and infer as well when you are answering these questions. And then part 3, which is also necessary to get all your points, is resource credit, which means that you are citing details from these sources that you use. And when I say citing details, what I mean is either directly word for word taking a passage and putting it into quotation marks and then citing it with parenthetical in-text citations as well as a reference citation, or paraphrasing a passage which is one to three or four sentences and contains an idea that the writer is trying to get across, that also has to have an in-text citation and an end reference citation that shows the reader where that source came from and what that source is specifically, so that they can go to that source themselves if they would like to read more about the topic. And so I'm going to also post resources on APA citing, APA formatting, in-text citations, and reference citations as well for you on our announcement. And there are some videos that are really good for you to look at as well, because you will be using citations in your assignments throughout the majority of the essays or papers that you write. All right, so again, review this and the resources given. Okay, and then finally, I'm switching over here to your week 2 writing, reaction, and review paper. And so a reaction and a review paper is basically reading over something and then reviewing it, which is evaluating it. We do this all the time in life, and professionals do this as a job. Some people write, they react and review movies, TV shows, books, products, technology. So in the professional world and in the real world, people do this as a job or for fun on their own blogs. And we do this all the time. We're always evaluating things. We're evaluating the restaurants we go to, the food we eat, the items that we purchase, and so on. And so it's important to be able to evaluate using logic and reason and evidence. So for this assignment, you're going to be reviewing, which is making a judgment or critique, a specific employer that you choose that has a job position that you may be interested in applying for. Okay? So it says, create a written review in which you capture your reaction to a selected employer based on their website. Your review will provide evidence or examples from the employer's website that support your opinion of the selected employer. It is important to organize your thoughts before writing your review, which is true for all writing. To get started, use your current employer or select a potential future employer and research their website. So you are not evaluating your current employer based on what you personally have experienced through working for them. You have to step back and take an objective position by going to the website and reviewing them based on what you see and read and react to on their website. Okay, so it says ensure that they have a job opening because you will use the same employer and the website in the week 4 summative assessment, cover letter, and reflection assignment. Using the information you found on the employer's website, write a 350 to 525 review of the selected employer in which you explain to your audience why you selected this employer, which means you can use I, first person, for this because it's in a review. And reviews are not scholarly papers, but they are papers that we create in the real world. Because they are not scholarly, you can use first person. In a true scholarly academic formatted paper, you would use third person, but you can use first person in this case. You are also going to be writing this in the form of a 5-paragraph essay, which is why you are reading about it and discussing this on our discussion page this week. So again, you're going to explain to your audience why you selected this employer. You're going to provide some high-level details about the employer, such as the type of business, who they employ, where they are located, and what their mission statement is. And most employers have this on their website. And what they are looking for in employees and other details that you might find interesting and would like to share in your review. And then you're going to explain your reaction to this employer based on what you observe on their website. So what they say about themselves, how they promote themselves, how they brand themselves, and your evaluation, your critique, positive, negative, or neutral. And then finally, you're going to talk about if this would be a good place for you to work, why or why not, based on what you've observed on the website, and your review, your evaluation, okay? Very important is that you provide specific examples from the website that support your opinion about the employer. And that means details that you are citing directly word for word, summarizing or paraphrasing, but you are citing them both in the text and on the reference page, okay? So it says, use this writing reaction and review assignment tips handout to help you with this assignment. Format your assignment including citing your sources both in text and a reference citation and the employer's website according to APA guidelines. I have provided you here an APA paper template that was created by the University of Phoenix, not me, and a U of P sample paper that shows you what that looks like when it has been completed. Make sure to review, grammar check your work before you submit it, and then submit by uploading your Word document. And here are some additional resources for you, including the APA Style 7th edition. I believe this is, I put this here, I think it's the OWL at Purdue. Scribr has a really good citation generator, as well as MyBib, which I really like to use. Here is another reference and citation generator, Grammar Assistance, and some other assessment and support. All right, so this is your week 2 assignment that is due on Monday. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, or I didn't clarify something for you, please reach out to me and send me a message. I hope you're having a good Thursday, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. All right, take care.